Okay, now we might be up. Okay. Oh. Are we live? Looks like it. I didn't forget about you guys. I just busy day today. Personally, getting all the news out on Rumble and YouTube. Let's do this. Happy Friday. On Rumble and YouTube. Sorry, I did not have time to get everything posted before I started the day. I didn't even have time to set up the scheduled stream, unfortunately. But I think we're in for a little bit of a longer episode today. So maybe you'll enjoy that. Maybe you won't. Hope you do. I worked hard on this one. Join me. Before I'm on Rumble and YouTube, join me. Alright, there we go. Post is up on X. Let's get to the top of this. Ooh, is that alright? I hope so. We'll move it a little bit over. Oh, not that far. Sorry, guys. I'm shaking your viewpoint. There, my chat's up. Chats are up. We are officially ready to go now. Probably shouldn't have went over this cam until then, but it is what it is, guys. So happy Friday. Oh, am I switched over? Oh, now we're on the main cam. There we are. Whoops. All right, so happy Friday, January 9th, 2026. This is episode number 33 of Addressing the Issues. Before we start the day, I wanted to make sure to ask everybody, go ahead and drop a like on this. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Rumble, and be sure to share this one. Should be fun, should be a good one. A long Friday episode. It's kind of like an average Friday with the, guest episodes. That will be tomorrow morning at 9. Make sure you tune in. Should be enjoyable. Like I said, I really enjoyed this conversation. I've told you guys a few times before. I think it was a really good one. So I hope you guys will check it out this weekend whenever you're free, whenever you guys have some free time. So in our main story today, yesterday there was another federal enforcement related shooting. This time it was in Portland, Oregon. Border Patrol opened fire on 2 people. They eliminated them both after they attempted to ram the agent with their car. Both were allegedly related to the Trinidad gang and involved in a human trafficking and prostitution ring. Sorry about that, guys. I don't want to do it right in your ear. But once again, a viewer recommended I advise my viewers what to do if you find yourself in a similar situation yesterday. So I'll do it again. Let's see. Comply to all officers' commands. Yeah. And if they're doing something that you think is wrong, just comply and live the fight another day. In the court of law, the worst case scenario is you survive the encounter and go to court, where if the officer actually did something wrong, you get a huge payday. And the officer that did something wrong likely gets fired. Not complying with law enforcement gets us situations like what unfolded in Minneapolis, what unfolded in Portland. When an officer tells you to get out of the car, you get out of the car. He tells you to turn off the car, put the car in park, roll down the window, put your hands behind your back, stop resisting, get on the ground, spin around, whatever. Don't do what you want. Don't drive at them. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. It's that simple. Comply. And if there's any wrongdoing, you can get some cash in court. But just don't make silly decisions that'll alter the course of your life, guys. Drastically alter the course of your life. So I'll read you the statement from DHS released yesterday in regards to the incident and the update released today. At 2:19 Pacific Standard Time, a U.S. Border Patrol agent were conducting a targeted vehicle stop in Portland, Oregon. The passenger of the vehicle target is a Venezuelan illegal alien affiliated with the transnational Trinidad prostitution ring and involved in a recent shooting in Portland. The vehicle driver is believed to be a member of the vicious Venezuelan Trinidad. When agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupants, the driver weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over law enforcement agents. Fearing for his life and safety, an agent fired a defensive shot. The driver drove off with the passenger, fleeing the scene. The situation is evolving, and more information is forthcoming. And yesterday, 2 suspected Trinidad gang associates, let loose on American streets by Joe Biden, weaponized their vehicle against Border Patrol in Portland. The agent took immediate action to defend himself and others, shooting them. The driver of the vehicle, Luis David Nico Moncada, is a criminal illegal alien from Venezuela and suspected Trinidad gang member. He illegally entered the U.S. in 2022 and was released into the country by the Biden administration. Since then, he was arrested for DUI and unauthorized use of a vehicle. He has a final order of removal. The passenger, Yorlenius Betsabeth Sembrano Contreras, is a criminal illegal alien from Venezuela and is associated with Trinidad. She illegally entered the U.S. in 2023 near El Paso, Texas, and was released into the country by the Biden administration. Since illegally entering, Contreras played an active role in a Trinidad prostitution ring and was involved in a prior shooting in Portland. Doesn't sound like these were the nicest people. But now there is an autonomous zone in Minneapolis at the location where the woman tried to ram the ICE agent and was neutralized. Antifa agitators have now blocked a public roadway with barriers and are refusing to let traffic through the block. It has now been declared an autonomous zone. My question is, do the people that live there and did not vote on this, didn't vote for their road to be closed, did they get a tax-exempt status from local and state governments? You know, the police and National Guard that they pay through their taxes are refusing to help them out and ensure that they have the freedom of movement and to and from their own residences that they also pay taxes on. If I lived there, there's no way I would agree to pay state and local taxes for this year, or at least for the time that my street was blocked. My street was occupied with no help from law enforcement. Because if the state and local government refuse to honor their half of the agreement, why should I? This makes me think of John Locke's social contract. If there's a violation of the social contract where you agree to give up some of your freedoms, in this case, your freedom of money to pay taxes, to have the protection of the government and police to stop crime. That's not being done here. The agreement's not being honored. So I don't know why they'd pay taxes. People might be right that it's just time to abolish taxes in general, or at least stop paying them. Government officials are refusing to do their job, paying out multiple billions to fraudulent child care services and fund terrorist groups around the world. And people are still paying taxes. Their money's going to Somalia as opposed to the police, who need to secure their street and ensure people can drive down it. This is a public roadway. These protesters didn't pay to put the asphalt down, so they shouldn't be blocking the asphalt in general. Anyways, the officer in Minneapolis's point of view is released today, and it shows him clearly being hit before he returned fire. And in regards to left-wing pundits and their thoughts to shoot the tires, because somehow shooting a tire would have prevented this. One, shooting a tire doesn't stop a vehicle. It doesn't stop a 2-ton vehicle, to be exact. And he couldn't even see the tires with how close he was to the SUV. So A, there was no time to look down to find a tire and shoot it. And B, the woman was aware that she didn't have room to drive off, as she looked right at him as she stepped on the accelerator. Her wife screamed, "Drive, drive, drive," after the uniformed officers commanded her to get out of the vehicle. But yeah, I don't understand how you could argue that he was supposed to somehow find a tire when he's looking directly over the hood of the car. And I guess people don't understand that cars can drive on flat tires. That's alarming. Maybe those people should not have driver's licenses. I guess we'll get into the driver's license thing a little bit later, but that's my opinion on that. There were protests at even more cities across the U.S. last night, seemingly led by the radical 5501 and Indivisible groups, the same groups that brought you No Kings. These are groups funded from George Soros's Open Society Foundation, the Tides Foundation, which also includes George Soros, and Hans-Georg Wyss, and Reid Hoffman from the Truth Brigade. George Soros is evil. I'll just tell you. I'll read this excerpt. This is an official interview with 60 Minutes from 1998. The interviewer asks that he went out and, in fact, helped the confiscation of property from the Jews. This is in Hungary in 1944. He says, "Yes, that's right, yes." The interviewer asks, that sounds like an experience that would send lots of people to a psychiatric couch for many, many years. Was it difficult? Mr. Soros responds, "No, not at all, not at all. Maybe as a child, you don't see the connection, but it was created, no problem at all." The interviewer asks, "No feeling of guilt?" To which George Soros responds, "No." That's just a little clip from it, but you can make your own conclusions. But does that sound like you'd want somebody you'd want influencing the policies of the United States of America? In my opinion, probably not. And even more so, in the Nuremberg trials, Nuremberg Principle 4 stated that superiors' orders aren't a defense for crimes against humanity or war crimes, which I would argue that this was a crime against humanity. I digress. That's my opinion on the man. I don't think he's a stellar human being. But this situation in Minneapolis and now in Portland, all it got was an amplified response from Washington, with Vice President J.D. Vance claiming ICE would begin to go door to door today. At a protest yesterday, this was the Minneapolis one, an agitator was asked if they had a job, in which they responded to the reporter, "I'm getting paid right now." So Pam Bondi, who's paying them? And why are the people paying these professional agitators not in prison like you promised months ago? This isn't a natural response to what happened at either of these locations. This is provoked. These are people that are attempting to push an agenda through the death of a woman while ignoring the reason as to why it happened because it goes against their agenda. But this whole situation, it reminds me of a reframe from one of my favorite podcasters, Scott Adams. He's the creator of the Dilbert comic series. He said that we were watching two different movies on the same screen. It's like we're getting the same video, but how we are interpreting it is so different internally. Some people see it as she was murdered. Other people says she attempted to murder the cop, so he rightly fired back in self-defense. And I guess that's where the divide is in America today. It's truly like we are watching two different movies on the same screen. If you see that video, people will see it one way. Others will see it another. Another example would be like do you remember the dress meme picture? Is the dress white and gold or blue and black? That was 10 plus years ago. But it's kind of like that. It's how do you see it? It's the same picture, but how are you seeing the picture? Do you see it as blue and black or white and gold? But I'm a huge fan of Scott and what he's done in the space. But I hate to report he's unfortunately very ill right now. So guys, if you would pray for him, I don't know how many mornings we're going to be able to, or at least I'm going to be able to wake up and join him for coffee with Scott Adams. It's a great show. It's every day. He's a little bit more consistent than I am, but I appreciate what he's done for the space and to at least try and normalize some of these conversations. But yeah, do give him a prayer. He's incredibly ill right now. It hurts to watch at some points. In other news, President Trump, in an interview with Sean Hannity yesterday, claimed that the U.S. would start hitting land in Mexico regarding cartels. This is after Mexico claimed it would begin to help the U.S. with the problem of cartels months ago, but seemingly no concrete plans have been reached. This was around the time in which President Trump designated the cartels as a foreign terrorist organization due to the loss of American life they caused through drug overdoses, violence, human trafficking, all kinds of things. This warning is a bluff to get the president of Mexico, Gloria Sheinbaum, in the action or not is obviously to be determined. Normally when he does threaten things like this, she starts to act, but it does take threats for her to begin to at least show signs of movement. Many people believe she's controlled by the cartels, especially given the number of political assassinations that have taken place by members of the cartel on opposition party leaders during elections, particularly during this most recent election. I think it was like 8 or 9 presidential candidates who were assassinated in this most recent election cycle. But yeah, horrifying stuff. But I do hope that, maybe she won't call the bluff. I hope it is a bluff. I hope this is just to get her into action and stop the flow of narcotics, particularly fentanyl, into the country. It's very dangerous. It's a dangerous, dangerous substance. This is what a war on drugs actually looks like after many years of talking about a war on drugs. Yes, the DARE program, the spearhead of the war on drugs, was an absolute failure. I forget what the acronym is. Drug is something, resistance education. Awful program, silly in its entire funding. You just signed some random piece of paper and got a pencil, and then everybody went home and smoked a joint after it. It was absurd. It was not effective at all. It didn't help students. I think in many cases it actually led them to try drugs. Drug awareness and resistance education. Thank you. Did not work. I think it enticed middle schoolers in particular to try these mind-altering substances, in which case a lot of these people went on the harder things, like fentanyl, which is horrifying. But yes, I do believe that, actually threatening intervention is what it would look like, as opposed to having a whole bunch of kids sign pledges that made them more enticed to do drugs. I mean, that was a horrible program. Waste of taxpayer dollars. Doge would eliminate that in a heartbeat, or would have if it was still around. But I do hope this will be a turning point in the continued narcotics trafficking trade across the border. I think many people have, had somebody, at least close to them, friends, family, that have been affected by these drugs, particularly fentanyl. You never want to see one of your good friends overdose, one of your family members. It's a terrible, terrible thing. It's a terrible, terrible drug. It's a scary drug. But in other President Trump news, last night President Trump posted data from an unreleased jobs report. Traditionally, when a jobs report is released, government officials are supposed to wait 30 minutes before responding about it to give the public time so they can take it all in without outside influence. But President Trump completely skirted around that rule last night by releasing part of it a day early. It was a screenshot on Truth Social. Like I said, nobody's favorite social media site, but it's there. And it's, I guess, where you get updates now. The presidential briefing typically takes place the day before the jobs report is actually released, which would have been last night. But I think President Trump may have just got a little bit excited when he saw the report, when he saw the numbers, especially when he saw since January, the private sector accounts for all new jobs created, with 654,000 more private sector jobs and 181,000 fewer government jobs. So we were talking about Doge a couple seconds ago. A huge, well-deserved shout-out to Doge for being the reason so much waste, fraud, and abuse was eliminated from those government jobs. It's a shame that it's not an official agency anymore. I do miss the name 5 things you got done this week emails. Those were great. Those were hilarious. And the reaction to that was hilarious as well. And cuts at USAID, which is one of these agencies that was hit the hardest by Doge, accounted for over 22,000 of the government jobs which were lost. It was a huge scam. I don't think Sesame Street Iran would be doing too good right now, especially given the situation over there. I don't know if anybody would be watching it. I don't think it'd be profitable either. And unemployment fell to 4.4% last month, which is up from 4% at the beginning of last year. But, with it dropping, that's a good thing. I mean, I guess every step in the right direction is good. It counts. It matters. So, yeah. A little bit of news from Secretary Scott Bessent. Yesterday, the Treasury Secretary announced that starting today, if you are on public assistance, you cannot wire money out of the country. My question is, why wasn't this always the case? There's no reason that people should be taking U.S. dollars used for, food, shelter, water, power, just the basic essentials, and sending these to other countries abroad. I don't believe anybody can explain that to me in a reasonable sense. But that's where we are. Why wasn't this always the case? Why wasn't there always, rails on this train that is government assistance? And the fact that they can send that money elsewhere is I mean, objectively absurd. This is money to be used for them on food, not money for their family to use to fund terrorism with Al-Shabaab in Somalia. That's just how the money should be used. It shouldn't be sent elsewhere. It should be used on yourself, especially if the government is giving it to you for free. If these people were to be working for this money, I would feel differently. If you make $1 million and you want to send half of it home, be my guest. But if you're taking money only and sending it home, we start to have a little bit of a issue, I guess we could say. And states are taking up several measures to address this themselves, such as my beautiful free state of Florida. Florida is currently considering a law that would ban remittances from undocumented immigrants, preventing them from opening bank accounts. This law would also prevent them from obtaining loans or home ownership assistance. This same law would automatically assign at-fault status to undocumented drivers in car accidents for insurance purposes, requiring overwhelming evidence to overturn the at-fault status, which is another stellar idea. This is common sense, especially the second part. If the person is not supposed to be there, in what way would it ever be your fault if you're involved in a car accident with them, as they simply, shouldn't have been in that location in the first place. Especially when incidences like these occur, it raises your insurance premiums, because way too often they don't purchase insurance themselves, and then you surely get assigned at-fault status for someone who, by all stretch of the law, all stretch of the imagination, shouldn't have been there. It's kind of crazy. People come from places where they literally don't even drive on the right side of the road or have any enforced traffic laws. And they do the same thing here. I mean, probably a few of us have, been out of the country, been to, in particular, the Caribbean islands. It seems there's no traffic laws there. It's just you pass whenever you want to. The buses are going 70 mile an hour down a windy mountain road, and it's just like, it's crazy. And then they come here and have the same driving habits. Absurd. I actually saw this today. I was driving, had to go to the gas station, fill up the tank. But there was a person who literally blocked 3 lanes of traffic on a 8-lane divided road, because they couldn't figure out how to wait on a red light. The concept of a red light was too difficult for them, which is absurd. There's no reason that someone that drives like that, should have a car or be allowed on the road. And I don't care if he was born here in the U.S. as a U.S. citizen or not. That guy in particular should not be allowed to operate or own a motor vehicle. It should probably be taken away from him because he's a hazard to the community. That's my opinion on that. I don't know if anybody else has experiences like that or if that's just where I live. But if you can't follow simple traffic laws, if you feel the need to block 3 lanes of traffic because you are upset about a red light, you probably shouldn't have a car. That goes to U.S. citizens or not. That's just the truth. In other news, I guess this goes back to a continuing theme this week. The U.S. seized another tanker in the Caribbean Sea last night called the Olena, which is or was part of the Shadow Fleet that has evaded sanctions on Venezuela oil. It's just a growing pattern. More and more ships are being seized. But I guess that is how you control your own oil supply in your hemisphere. Well, not your own, but control the oil supply in your hemisphere. They can own the car, someone else drives it. But what if they don't have anybody else to drive it and they want to go somewhere? Why wouldn't they just go pick up their keys, which they own, take it somewhere, or unable to drive, and crash it into you, and now you're paying for it, not just for repairs, but you're paying for it monthly on your insurance premiums, which isn't fair to you. Just be good drivers, people. Follow the law, be good drivers. It's not hard. And if you can't drive, they have like driver's ed. They have stuff like that. You can probably get like driving training sessions in like an empty parking lot somewhere. If that's where you need to start, maybe you just start there. But don't put everybody else's life at risk. We've all seen the 18-wheeler that killed a family here in Florida, not too far from me. People like that shouldn't be driving. Sorry, but it's a skill thing, I guess. I don't know. I don't think driving's even that hard. But at the end of the show yesterday, I briefly alluded to an ongoing strike on Ukraine. During the strike, Russia used a nuclear-capable hypersonic missile called the Oreshnik. The strike was caught on video, which hit Lviv. The reason I bring this up is the Oreshnik reportedly travels at up to 10 times the speed of sound, Mach 10. This is the only time, or only the second time, I've seen that hypersonic missile used, at least captured on video, and it's absolutely horrifying. I'm honestly not sure, if we have a way to stop it. If there is a way to stop it and prevent these kind of strikes once they are airborne, it's horrifying. The U.S. has 3 types of hypersonic missiles themselves in development. The Army's Dark Eagle, the Navy's Continental Prompt Strike, or CPS, or Conventional Prompt Strike, and the Air Force's Hypersonic Attack Cruise Missile, or HACM. You'd probably say like HACM or something in the military. But all these are reportedly variations of common hypersonic glide bodies, or C-HGBs, which according to reports travel at roughly Mach 5 up to Mach 17. That's fast. That's very fast. But if you haven't seen the video of the Oreshnik over Lviv yet, I'd recommend watching it. It's about the craziest weapon I've ever seen on video. Probably yourself. It looks like lightning coming down multiple times in multiple locations. Multiple times at the same time in multiple locations. It is an absurd weapon. It's probably, like I said, the craziest thing I've seen, and you can watch nuclear explosions on YouTube. You can watch nuclear weapons testing on YouTube. And this looks way more horrifying, I guess, because the average person knows that if it is nuclear capable, that means that they can put a nuclear weapon on board. And, those YouTube videos are combined with, this 10 times the speed of sound. They look like lightning bolts coming down from the sky. Just truly, truly scary technology. But apparently we have, a missile that's a little bit better, or I guess 3 different variations of the same missile that's a little bit better. But to consider that it's nuclear capable at a speed like that is absurd to think. Apparently, like I said, the U.S. has 3 different variations of it. Scary, all nuclear capable as well. But my thoughts after seeing it, is like, I truly hope the U.S. has at least some idea how to counter these. If we don't, that would be a terrible thing if they were launched towards us. I don't know the range of the Russian ones, but they are supposedly intercontinental. So, something comes down that speed, I hope we have, the space lasers everybody talks about or something like that to disable them maybe an EMP-like technology. But I'd check those out. Watch the video. It's really scary. But that is the state of modern conflict, unfortunately. So yeah, that's basically all we have today. Like I said earlier at the beginning, be sure to like, subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Rumble. Drop a comment at the end if you feel the need to, if you want to. Just tell me what you're thinking about. How's it going? Whether you like the show or not. I mean, anything you want to talk about. It helps me, obviously, gain audience reach, get a better, more favorable seat in the algorithm. So I appreciate y'all doing that. And sharing, I think, obviously, some people shared the day. We had like 10 concurrent viewers at one point, which was awesome. And the subscriber and follower counts are slowly starting to go up. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate, number one, your viewing. That always helps with the algorithm. The more people that are already in there, the more likely it is to be promoted to other people. So, like always, your viewership is the number one priority, so I appreciate that a lot. Beyond that, like I said, share. Likes help a lot. Comments help a lot. Just subscribing, following. Tomorrow, Saturday, first guest episode on a Saturday of, Searching for Solutions. It'll be Searching for Solutions number 5. I plan on having that out by 9 tomorrow morning. So hopefully you can watch it as you're cooking breakfast. Hopefully it doesn't, make you rethink what you're eating. It could, but it was a really good show. It'll be fun for you guys to watch. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for showing up, hanging out. It's always a good time with you guys. And that's it. So, be safe out there, guys. Protests are expected to continue the night. Wouldn't recommend putting yourself in a bad situation. More football tonight. That's what I'll be doing. College football playoffs. It's an awesome time of the year. Miami won last night. Heck of a game. Super fun to watch. My hockey team won as well, so that's always good too. But yeah, there should be another good game tonight in Oregon versus Indiana. Tune in to that. Probably don't get arrested. It's probably a better choice of your time because nobody wants to spend time in the big house. That's all we have for today. I didn't even check. Let's do that real quick. Did anybody comment who would win yesterday? If you were right, I will give you a shout out right now. And if you do it today, even if you get the winner of Indiana or Oregon right, I'll give you a shout out on the Monday episode. And I don't know if it matters to anybody, but go ahead, make a guess. Don't gamble in real life. This is free. You can guess anywhere for free here. Yeah, nobody made a guess, so nobody gets any shout outs. But if you do want to put a guess in the comments tonight, Indiana versus Oregon, who's going to play Miami in the national championship, I will give you a shout out on the Monday episode. That's all we have for today, guys. To all my people on the East Coast, I hope you get home safe. To my people further west, I hope you get home safe as well. Hope you guys enjoyed. Guest episode tomorrow should be out at 9. We'll be live again Monday at 4:45 Eastern Standard Time. So guys, thank you. I'll see you again soon.